renovations, expansions, and improvements in the last years. And it was by far the world's longest bridge back in 1883. Now, of course, there's many other bridges in the world that have overtaken perfection. So somebody had to take over 350 pieces and then reassembled. The inner framework, normally it's supposed to be about maybe months in advance that you would have to the Waterfront park space as it extends down this way to the Brooklyn Bridge in front of us. Brooklyn Bridge Park has had some renovations, expansions, and improvements in the last years. Still, since the 1920s, also almost 100 years, I think 1927 thereabouts, almost 100th anniversary. On the left, this famous carousel ride, originally from Ohio, and then we obtained that. It's originally from Ohio. It's got 48 carved wooden horses. Jane's Carousel on the left, quite famous. That little rectangular open box structure. Now, the Brooklyn Bridge here. This was the first of these three bridges to span the East River here. This was completed back in 1883, and it was by far the world's longest bridge back in 1883. The man who designed the Brooklyn Bridge in front of us was from Germany. His name, John Roebling. And speaking of Ohio, before this bridge, he had a similar looking stone suspension bridge that is still there in Ohio, connecting the cities of Cincinnati and Covington, which was kind of his practice before the Brooklyn Bridge, which stands 276 feet tall. These towers back in 1883 were New York's tallest structure, New York City's tallest structure. The full span over a mile, the main span is 1,595.5 feet. So in other words, the main span in meters, 486 meters. Now, of course, there's many other bridges in the world that have overtaken the title as world's longest, but this neo-Gothic classical iconic bridge above us, the deck being 127 feet above this water, is what pioneered these possibilities. And John Roebling's innovative alternating smaller steel cables woven into four larger cables from which it's suspended. Now, he never lived to see the bridge even begin construction, because one day in Brooklyn, to our left, standing on a wooden pier and making preparations for construction to begin, surveying the area, as a ferry docked roughly into the pier and it shifted out of place wooden planks which crushed his foot, and he got an infection. Days later, he died from the infection. So somebody had to take over. It was his son, age 32, an engineer, Washington Roebling. Now, he encountered a problem too, which left him bedridden for the remainder of construction, and he had to teach his wife Emily engineering, who then helped relay and complete the project. I'll give you more details about that Brooklyn Bridge story and how it ends on the way back. It's a lot of info. On the right here, South Street Seaport, and I guess semi-foolishly was confused on the previous trip. I said, oh, is this a new ship that's never been there before? But then later I saw it set sail and it said the Clipper, which has been quite a few years in the area for tourists. However, I'll have to ask somebody. I think they painted, I think the blue color is new. I don't remember it being blue, but I might be wrong. Anybody know? I'm the tour guide, should be asking this, especially out loud. On the right here, the Wavertree ship, that taller one with the masts, that just stays docked there, but it's part of the South Street Seaport Museum that it includes that. On weekends, check their details if it's changed, but free tours inside. You can see inside the massive hull of the ship, the cargo space there. It's from 1885, built in England. It's been in service, made its rounds around the south edge of South America, had a mast destroyed way back when, eventually brought up to condition back up here. Yep, the tallest building in New York City is in the background. We are getting various glimpses and angles of it. I'm going to tell you about it more. Of course, the World Trade Center, New York City's tallest building, actually the United States' tallest building also, more generally. The Western Hemisphere's tallest building as well. When we go further down this waterway, And when we leave the East River here and enter the New York Harbor, Upper Bay ahead, we'll have a better view of the World Trade Center, and I'll tell you more. But for now, on our left, back to the left side, which is still Brooklyn. It is the neighborhood of Brooklyn Heights. It goes back with some history, at least for the timeline of Brooklyn. There are many nice, charming brownstone buildings on many streets in the neighborhood of Brooklyn Heights, as well as many other neighborhoods of New York City. A lot of famous people originally from, and more than 12 million. Peak year was 1907 at 1.25 million. And you know, many people go there to visit. They got a museum, a national museum. Many people like to see if they can find look at a record of an ancestor of theirs and whatnot. In France initially, then disassembled, packed and shipped over here. Initially it was just the hand and the torch that was shipped over. Then they had to raise more funds. The rest of the shipment came over, 214 boxes, 350 pieces, and then reassembled. The inner framework, that's pretty elaborate and helps the assembly of it. Pedestal base, by the way, was designed by Richard Morris Hunt, an American architect. He also designed the main entrance front that you see at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, a few buildings at different Ivy League universities, some extensions of the Capitol building. For the 7 seas or continents, the tablet book, July 4th, Roman numerals inscribed. Okay, normally it's supposed to be about maybe months in advance that you would have to book and buy a ticket in order to go up and access the crown. Because, you know, so many people around the world are trying to get in there, but it's such a finite amount of space per workday to fit in.